What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2023 movie, Anyone But You. So this movie is directed by Will Guck, who has directed some of my favorite movies in the last, or a couple of my favorite movies in the last decade. I wouldn't say a lot, but a couple. He did Easy A and Friends with Benefits, which are two movies I really enjoy. I actually think Friends with Benefits is pretty underrated, and I loved Easy A and everything when it first came out, and still do, and everything. So I didn't know he directed this movie when I went to see it, but when I watched it and everything, I kept saying, like, this kind of reminds me of Friends with Benefits in ways, and everything. Like, not necessarily that it was exactly like it, but I could just kind of tell that it was from the same director and everything. And then I looked it up and found out that it was, which was crazy. But in this movie, after an amazing first date, Bea and Ben's fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a destination wedding in Australia. So they do what any mature adults would do and pretend to be a couple to impress their families. Partially because they're trying to get away from their exes who are also there too. And I gotta say, this is a pretty good movie. I am not really familiar with a lot of the cast in here, except for the guy from Scream 6 that was the dad that was one of the ghost faces. Something Mulaney, I cannot remember his name. But he's in this and everything, and he's really the main one I recognize. But I've heard of Sydney Sweeney and everything, but I didn't know anything about her. I've seen Glenn Powell at least once in Top Gun Maverick, but that's the only thing I really recognized him from. Sydney Sweeney, I've heard of her a lot. I've heard a lot about her and stuff because of the show Euphoria, which I've never watched, so I didn't know anything about her and everything. But everyone is making a huge deal about her being in Madam Web, so I was like, maybe I'll give this movie a shot and see what kind of an actress she is, if she's any good or not. No, I thought she was pretty good in this movie. I think her and Glenn Powell were both really great in here. They had great chemistry and everything, and they were both really good and stuff, and they were pretty funny and everything. And the characters are all really likable. Like, I think all of them, even the supporting ones, are all really good. Even the ones that are their exes and stuff, that they're not your stereotypical annoying exes trying to get the person back. They do kind of go through that trope and stuff, but they do it in a way that's a little bit, it's not completely new or anything, because I'm sure there's been movies that have been like that before, but it's not done in the most typical way that you would expect in a rom-com and stuff. So it works pretty well and everything. And like this movie does follow a lot of your typical rom-com beats. It's kind of a paint-by-numbers movie, but it's enjoyable because the cast is just so great together, and the chemistry between Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell is really good and everything. And this movie also, it kind of had the Friends with Benefits vibe, but it also kind of reminded me of the movie Holiday, which starred Emma Roberts on Netflix, and that movie was pretty fun too. Everything, but I think this one does the story really well and everything, and it has some pretty fun moments throughout, and the ending is pretty good too. It's your typical Hollywood ending, which is exactly what you would have expected from this type of movie 20 years ago and everything. I kind of had a feeling they were going to do something different with this one, but they didn't, and a long time ago I would have said that would have bothered me, but we haven't had a movie like this in a long time that actually feels like your typical Hollywood rom-com that and everything. It felt like an old school rom-com and everything, so I enjoyed that and everything. I think there's some really funny moments throughout and everything, especially the scene where they're like on the cliff and everything, and he gets, like, I think a spider or something in his clothes and everything. He just completely takes his clothes off and throws them off the cliff and everything. It was like really silly and dumb and everything. He's like, what the hell am I gonna do? And her entire family is conveniently not looking and everything. I don't know how the hell they would have noticed it. It reminded me of those videos that you see on Facebook and YouTube of people that are doing something and they're just like pretending like they're not noticing stuff and everything. It's like really weird and everything. That was one of those scenes that was kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I just went ahead and suspended my belief on that and everything. And then she like takes her shorts off and he puts her shorts on, everything. That way he's not completely naked and stuff, and she's just walking around in her underwear and everything. Which I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose, because they do over sexualize Sydney Sweeney, which doesn't surprise me, because that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people make a huge deal about her. Is I know a lot of dudes that have a huge crush on her and everything, and she's pretty and stuff. I can get it and everything. I don't think she's ugly or anything. I think she's pretty and stuff. So I do get it. I don't think she's like the most beautiful celebrity or anything, but I think she's pretty good. And I thought her performance was really good in this movie though and everything. So she was pretty good. And I love the use of Natasha Bedingfield's classic song Unwritten. That's another reason it kind of felt like an early 2000s movie, is that they heavily use that song and everything, and it's like, I love that song, because I love me some Natasha Bedingfield. She's one of those singers that I always really liked in high school. I never really kept up with her after her first 2 albums, unfortunately, but I'd like to get caught up. But I love that song, Unwritten. It's really great, catchy song. If you haven't heard it, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, this movie is pretty good. I will say the biggest downtake on it is that it is so predictable. Like, you know how this movie's going to go, every single beat and everything. If you can kind of figure out where it's going to go, every single thing is going to go, you know how it's going to go. And it does that and everything. So, I will say it is very predictable, but all in all, I think Anyone But You is a fun rom-com, and it has a lot of great humor, and it doesn't really have a lot of stakes or anything, but it's serviceable enough for what it is, an enjoyable time at the movies and everything. It's an easy way to kill 2 hours and stuff, so I highly recommend it. It's still playing in theaters and everything. I tried not to do spoilers, but I mean, there's not really much that I can't spoil about this movie. Anybody who's seen the trailer knows how this movie's going to play out and stuff, and it's been out long enough so that I think most people that have wanted to see it would have seen it and stuff. But if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's just a really good throwback rom-com and everything, and it has some really fun moments and stuff. It's not as raunchy as it could have been and everything. Like you could tell they were trying to be raunchy at times and stuff, and they added some of the raunchiness just to get the R rating, but it doesn't, like, it's not like a hard R rating. Like they could have edited it down just a teeny bit and it would have been PG-13, but I think what they did with it was good and everything. And like I said, it has some really fun moments and everything, so I definitely would recommend it and everything. So Anyone But You, not one of the best movies of the year or anything, but it's a good time and everything. If you like rom-coms and stuff, you'll probably enjoy it. So I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's an enjoyable movie, not anything perfect or special, but good enough. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Anyone But You, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.